say thank you for your support and your prayers in our Follow Your Dreams tour project. We have some updates to give. It's been a while. We've gone through some rough patches. I made the analogy this morning on Facebook. I said, if you're starting out from Florida and you're going to California, California, maybe Los Angeles being your destination, and you go down the I-10, you know that not all the terrain is the same. You know that in some areas it's plush. There's forests, there are trees. Some areas they have lots of fruit trees and they grow lots of vegetables, and there's also a lot of rain. And so everything is just plush. But once you get out past South Central Texas and you get into West Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and the first probably 100 miles of California, you might be wondering what you got yourself into. And of course that depends on your mode of transportation and what season of the year it is. So when we're going through things, when we're following our dreams, when we're going for them, there are seasons of plushness. There are seasons of abundance. There are areas in our journey that are abundant. We're around people that love us and that they get what we're doing. But then there's other times, other segments of the journey when maybe people don't quite understand what we're doing, especially if we're going through a time of lack. Something happens that they're not sure about. And so that's kind of what we've gone through here lately on our trip from Los Angeles to Texas, then up to Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska to do the 5 concerts there in 9 days, and getting out to Atlanta, and then here into Aiken, South Carolina, which is right outside of Augusta, Georgia. And so there's been a lot of ups and downs, but I can say this: we haven't gone without, and we've had a place to sleep regardless of whether it was in our truck or not. And now we don't have the truck, and it could be forever or it could be up until another week. We're trying to determine what the Lord wants us to do. If He wants us to establish a permanent base, which we'd like to have. I mean, it'd be nice after 5.5 years to have a permanent place that we can work out of. We could establish a global, where we could establish a global Game Changers Universal base. And if not that, at least a hub, possibly in Dallas or Sarasota, Florida, and maybe Atlanta, Georgia. We're not for sure yet. We're praying about that. There are really good benefits to all 3 of those, and it may come down to preference. And quite frankly, we like being close to the beach. So I'm giving you this information ahead of time because you are our supporters and you're the ones that go beyond just praying to actually help us financially. So I want to give you this information before we put it out there to others. The other thing is, when we made it from Wichita, Kansas, which was our last show, into Atlanta, we were there the night before the Pinewood Studios construction meeting free breakfast. And that's on Wednesday mornings there from 8 o'clock to about 10. And so we were able to attend that again, which is what I always look forward to when we get to Peachtree City, Noonan area. And so I went in there, and I had thought about contacting this one friend before we got into Atlanta. And I thought, no, I'll just go to the breakfast and I'll see, and I'll contact him afterwards. I just want to see what develops there. Well, he usually doesn't go very often, but he was there that day. And so he was telling me about this investor who I know personally and actually have his phone number, that was looking for a movie a couple of years ago about supernatural possession and deliverance. And so I got all excited. I'm like, oh, this is cool, because a couple of years ago we were there and he didn't make any mention of it to me. He did say that if we had a screenplay, he knew a group of investors we could pitch it to. So me knowing all this, and things didn't work out for us to stay there, we had a friend here in Aiken, South Carolina, and we're here right now for a temporary amount of time. And so what I did was, going off of that information, I started visiting Janice's story, her screenplay I started writing in 2013. And so I've made really good progress with it, and we've determined that in addition to Janice's current biography that I wrote in a documentary style, I'm going to write another book in a story format so that people can actually follow it a little bit easier. And we're going to do a special limited edition in a hardback color book. We're only going to produce 500 of these. We're going to number them, and we're going to have a certificate of authenticity, and we're going to do double autographs, Janice's and my autographs, for these 500. For anyone who wants this limited edition, we're also going to include the documentary style biography for $100. And what that is going to do is going to help us pay our expenses to develop the screenplay, to pitch it to some producers and investors so that we can get this movie going. Now, if it doesn't work with finding a producer or investors that want to launch out there, because this book is cutting edge. There are so many miracles in it, and it covers so many different topics that a lot of producers, I'm thinking, are not even going to want to touch it. And because of the political climate and everything else. However, there are people out there that need to be reached, and they need to be told that there's hope. It doesn't matter what you're going through. There's hope. God is still doing miracles today. So we don't want to cut any of that out. In fact, it's going to be really supernatural. We're going to show the demons and the angels and the behind the scenes fights that go on for the battle of our souls. And some of these were physical appearances that happened to Janice. So we're going to bring this out in the movie. Now, the violence of the trauma that happened when her arm got caught in the press, some of her words before she was born again, and the trauma, the mental institutions, the suicide attempts, and all of that is most likely going to cause the movie industry to rate this movie as a rated R. Some Christians won't even want to go in to look at it, and we understand that, but our target audience is not Christians. Our target audience are those that are out there who are lost, that they're watching stuff about the supernatural anyway. They're drawn to it. Why not give them the truth? They're also watching the R-rated movies, and they don't have a problem with it. So that is our target audience. Now, the 500 limited edition books, what that's going to do is going to help us with the expenses, but it's also going to help us launch the word of mouth that we need to get this out there. Now, if we could sell 700,000 to 1 million of her existing biographies, we would have enough to produce the film ourselves, to go hire a producer, to go hire a director, the cameras, teams, the whole thing, to build the sets, everything. So we're not limited to finding the right investor or the right producers. What we're limited to right now is marketing and advertising and getting the inflow of funds to produce this thing. So in your prayers, in your support, please keep that in mind and pass the word on. You're on our Patreon project. So, invite others to it. Send them links. $1 a day by 5,000 people That's $5,000 a month to help us with expenses so that we can focus on what we're doing instead of having to stop and start, go out and look for work, trying to bring in other work here and there. It's already enough with the tour, setting up the bookings, going out and doing these outreaches for donations. I don't really want to charge. I don't want to charge somebody to come play in an outreach or at a coffee shop or in a hotel room. I'd rather do the outreach and have them donate whatever they can. Some don't, we minister to a lot of homeless shelters. They don't have any money. So we're sowing in these areas, telling people about their dreams and the dreams that God has for them, and to bring them over into salvation so that they can fulfill their call in their life and join and connect to others to build His kingdom. So the word's going out there, and the hope, the encouragement is going out there, and you're all a part of it. And so I just want to encourage you that if you're part of our Facebook pages and you're seeing some of the stuff that we're having to struggle through, hey, He's got this. In fact, the Lord keeps telling me over and over again, He says, I got this. There are people that we're connected to that are working on things. They're working on trying to get us connected to places. I have sent some materials again to the 700 Club. We've done 2 radio shows this year in Tucson. That stuff is out there. So sometimes it can look like things are going bad, and over the weekend I was attacked demonically. The thoughts in my mind were to give up. This stuff isn't working. You just need to set it aside and go do this. And I was praying, I was like, no, got to stay focused. I've got stuff out there that, hey, if you know of any work that's out there, I've looked for work. We haven't found it, so we're going to continue to go. And as the Lord brings in the work, or as He brings in the funds, we will continue to do what we need to do. But we have a temporary place here, probably for another 6 weeks. And we're going to use it to however we need to. We're ministering here as well. I did an outreach this past Saturday at Grace Kitchen, which is, they feed the homeless. It's inside of a church gym. This Saturday, I'll be ministering with music and word at the Sakahatchee outreach, which is a group of 100 people from around this state here. They go into the cities, they find people that can't fix up their houses, that are living in really bad conditions, and they go in and they help fix things and help them live better. So that's a statewide thing, and I'll be getting our stuff out there as well and say, hey, we're here to help. How can we help encourage? So anyway, briefly, I just wanted to share that with you, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts for believing in what we're doing. We're on the outside of the churches, trying to connect to the churches that will connect, that really want to reach their community and join with their other brothers and sisters. Unfortunately, many don't. They say, we got our own outreach, we're doing this on our own, or they're totally closed off to everything and they're only helping those they have attending there. And my thing is this: there are folks falling through the cracks of our society that the church, that His body should be reaching and helping. So we're going where He says. We're going to be setting up Game Changers, universal hubs in different communities where we have somebody that will do that, where they can get the word out, where they can encourage and bring in other Christian performers, local talents, to do some ongoing outreaches, maybe in coffee shops, maybe out in parks, maybe in hotel ballrooms. But we're setting up a strategic circuit where Christian performers can travel, and we can help them around this country, into Canada, into Alaska, and possibly down into Mexico, and then take it overseas. Because a lot of performers that we're associated with, they really could care less about denominational boundaries and all this other stuff. They just want to get together to use their talents to encourage people and help them. So I hope that you will continue to support us and help us spread the word. And thank you so much for your prayers as we go forth in this impossible journey with an everything is possible God. And so thank you again for all that you're doing. God bless you and have an awesome day. May the Lord, Father, I ask that you multiply abundantly back in their lives, not only finances, but connections, encouragement, and hope in every area of their life. And I'll proclaim open doors to see the dream that He has for your life fulfilled. And thank you again. God bless you. Until next time, we'll see you on the road.